Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so we've just waded through a pretty significant pile of sources. Local news, feature interviews, profiles of local leaders, all focused right here on Mansfield.
Yeah, quite a tack.
And our goal today, it's pretty simple, really. We want to give you the shortcut to being seriously informed about what's happening.
We're talking everything from state constitutional amendments that could actually affect your bank account.
All the way to the secret life, almost, of the guy who's the voice of the local football stadium. It's quite a range.
It is. This stack gives a really dense snapshot, civic life, community stuff, leadership insights. We'll hit the big votes coming up, some key deadlines.
Practical home advice, too, right? Getting ready for winter.
Exactly. And then these really fascinating stories about careers, how people build trust and, find success here.
So the big question for you listening is, what bits of info here are most crucial for you right now? And maybe more importantly, how does it all connect? Engaging with the community, growing your career.
Right. Let's dive in and unpack it.
Okay, first up, the election. Seems like the most immediate thing.
Definitely. Early voting's already underway. Started recently and runs through October 31st.
And Election Day itself is November 4th. Quick turnaround.
It is, and the big focus at the state level. 17 proposed constitutional amendments.
17. That's a lot to get your head around in one go.
It really is.
Let's zero in on the money side first. Which ones are likely to have the biggest sort of dollar impact on the average household?
Okay, yeah. The one getting the most attention, probably, is the proposal to raise the homestead exemption for school property taxes.
Right. The current exemption is $100,000.
Correct. And this proposal wants to bump that up to $140,000.
Okay, so what does that mean practically?
Well, if it passes, it could directly lower your monthly mortgage payment, assuming you escrow your taxes. It's a very visible potential change for homeowners.
That's definitely something people will notice. What else is on the financial front? Any other big tax-related measures?
Yeah, there are a couple aimed more at limiting future state options. One proposal would ban the state from ever implementing a capital gains tax.
Interesting.
And another proposes banning a state inheritance tax. So voters are essentially deciding whether to close those doors for state revenue down the road. It's about the philosophy of state funding, really.
So you've got direct relief, potentially, and then these longer-term philosophical questions about state taxes.
Exactly. But it's not all about money, even though that gets headlines.
What else is critical on this ballot?
Well, there are some significant measures dealing with public safety and health. Bail reform is up for consideration.
Or so.
It includes proposals that would require judges to deny bail in certain serious criminal cases. That's a big policy shift.
Okay.
And voters are also being asked to approve funding for things like infrastructure improvements, roads, bridges, that sort of thing, and also for dementia research, which is notable.
So a real mix. Financial stuff, safety, health, infrastructure. It's a heavy lift for voters to research all 17.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's also a proposal just to clarify the state constitution.
What's that one about?
It aims to explicitly state that only U.S. citizens are permitted to vote in Texas elections.
Gotcha. So adding clarity there.
Right. It covers a lot of ground.
And then bringing it really local, there is this administrative decision in Tarrant County.
Ah, yes. The reduction in polling places.
Officials cut the number of early voting spots in, over 100 Election Day locations?
That's right. Over 100. The official reason given was cost cutting, trying to save taxpayer money.
Okay, cost cutting makes sense on one level, but...
But the practical effect, especially when you have 17 complex amendments on the ballot, is that it makes it potentially harder for some people to vote. Fewer locations, maybe longer lines or more travel time.
Yeah, it raises that question about balancing the budget versus, making voting accessible, especially in a big county.
It really puts a spotlight on local decisions and how they impact civic participation.
Definitely something to watch. Okay, let's shift gears from voting to some other immediate deadlines and community happenings.
Sounds good. First up, for families within the MISD, the Mansfield School District boundaries.
Okay.
Common Ground Mansfield's Christmas Assistance Program registration is open now, but only online, and it closes really soon, October 28th.
So just a few days left on that, and it's not just signing up online, is it?
No, that's just the first step. After you register online, there's a required in-person verification event.
What do people need to bring?
You need proof for the kids' school records or birth certificates for children ages 2 through 8th grade, plus a photo ID for yourself and proof of address, like a utility bill.
Okay, so be prepared for that follow-up step. Good reminder.
And sticking with MISD for a second, another deadline. Nominations for the Circle of Excellence Awards.
Ah, yes, honoring great teachers and staff.
Exactly. Those nominations close even sooner, October 24th. So if you want to nominate someone amazing, got to do it now.
Right, don't miss that window. Okay, moving from community deadlines to getting the house ready for colder weather.
Yeah, the sources had some really solid advice about heating system tune-ups.
Yeah.
Doing it before it gets really cold.
Why is that so important? I mean, besides just making sure it works.
Well, the expert they talked to used a great phrase they called the heating system the lungs of your house.
Huh. I like that.
Yeah, it drives home that you need it functioning well. A tune-up helps with efficiency, first off, so you're not wasting energy and money.
Makes sense.
And it helps avoid that strange smell you sometimes get the first time you turn the heat on. It's usually just dust burning off, but still.
Nobody likes that smell.
Right. But more importantly, it's about safety, especially if you have a gas furnace.
Oh, so?
The technician checks critical safety components, like the flame sensor, to make sure everything's operating correctly and safely. It's about preventing problems before they happen.
Yeah, proactive versus reactive. Much cheaper, usually.
Way cheaper than an emergency repair in the middle of a cold snap, and potentially much safer.
And there was a mention of a specific perk from a local company.
Yeah, Mansfield Plumbing, electrical, heating, and air. They apparently give their members carbon monoxide detectors during the tune-up appointment.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's an extra layer of safety right there.
It really is. And one last point on home health for winter. Dry air.
Yes. Dry skin, static electricity.
Bloody noses, sometimes. The sources reminded us that adding humidity back into your home air can make a big difference for comfort and health when the heat's running constantly. Simple fix, often overlooked.
Good tip. So we've covered finances, voting, community deadlines, home safety. Seems like a natural point to shift towards maybe longer-term planning, like careers.
Absolutely. The sources included interviews with 2 local leaders with very different but really insightful career stories.
Okay, let's start with Jenna Hunyett. She's VP of Business Development at Byers and Taylor Title, and she was on that 40 under 40 list.
Right. Relatively new to Mansfield, only been here about 3 years.
And she mentioned that as her biggest challenge, didn't she? Breaking into a market where competitors have been around for decades, building trust.
Exactly. She has to overcome that established network. And she was refreshingly honest about work-life balance, too. Basically said she hasn't figured it out.
Relatable.
Totally. But she relies heavily on volunteering and building relationships to kind of find that balance.
So volunteering isn't just like giving back for her. It's strategic.
That's the interesting part. She sees it as a primary way to develop business, to get known, build trust, and integrate herself into the community quickly. It directly addresses that challenge of being the newer player.
Smart. And there was that story about how she got an internship in college.
Oh, yeah, the Hawaii story. That was great. She basically decided she wanted to go to Hawaii. Her parents said, figure it out.
So she did.
She did. Didn't just go to the Career Center. She cold contacted hotels, found an internship listing online for the director of fun at a resort in Maui.
The director of fun? Seriously?
Seriously. And she landed it. Got college credit for it, even negotiated with her dad to pay for the flight.
That's incredible initiative.
And that experience, that kind of unconventional success, seems to be what fuels her approach now. It taught her she could make things happen, even without following the standard path.
And her advice to her younger self, that really resonated.
Yeah. It's going to be okay. You don't have to have it figured out. You don't have to be perfect. Just solid advice.
Okay, so that's Jenna, newer executive, high energy, strategic networking through community involvement. How does Stu Stewart's story contrast? He's the voice of Newsom Stadium.
Right. And also known as the bingo guy at Moon Tower Pizza Bar. A very familiar local voice.
His start in radio was interesting, back in Waco in the 90s.
Yeah, KBRQ from 94 to 98. And how he got that first job is key. It wasn't an application. His dad was a barber.
Okay.
And knew the afternoon DJ. Made the introduction. Pure old school networking.
Wow. So personal connections right from the start.
That's the thread through his whole career. He worked in DFW radio later, like at 95.9 The Ranch from 2007 to 2011. But he eventually left corporate radio.
Why was that?
He listed the classic reasons many people leave the industry. Pay wasn't great unless you had a top drive time slot, too much internal politics, and the big shift away from personality radio, the move towards voice tracking, computer playlists, taking the local character out of it.
He mentioned something he missed doing, hitting the post. What is that?
Yeah. That was like the art form for DJs back in the day. It meant timing your talking break, maybe 15 seconds, so perfectly that you finished exactly as the vocal on the next song started.
Wow, that takes skill.
Huge skill. Precision, timing, personality, all crammed into a few seconds. Voice tracking just kills that.
So a lost art, really.
Pretty much. And the big takeaway from Stu's whole story, the lesson for listeners, is that he said all his current voice work gigs, the stadium announcing, the bingo hosting, everything came from word of mouth.
Not from agents or websites or anything?
Nope. All from people he knew, connections he'd built over the years, completely outside of social media or formal channels. His network is his career security.
That's powerful. Two very different paths, Tro. Jenna's fast rise, Stu's long game, but both really hinge on building real relationships.
Exactly. Okay, we've hit the heavy stuff. Civic duty, careers, home prep. Should we lighten things up a bit? Flavor, fun, football.
Let's do it. It is autumn, after all.
And Sunday, October 26th, is apparently National Pumpkin Day.
Celebrating the mighty pumpkin.
Indeed. That squash Native Americans were growing way back, shared with the Pilgrims, became a Thanksgiving staple by 1623. We grow a lot of pumpkins now.
Over 1.5 billion pounds a year in the U.S., the sources said.
Crazy amount. And speaking of pumpkin season, there was a cocktail recipe that sounded interesting. The candy corn sour?
Okay, modern Halloween chic, they called it. I'm intrigued, but also slightly skeptical about candy corn in a drink.
Huh. Well, it's not literally candy corn. It's more inspired by it. It's basically a whiskey sour.
Okay, I like whiskey sours.
Uses bourbon, lemon juice, honey syrup instead of simple syrup, and some orange liqueur like Cointreau.
So honey and orange notes.
Right. And the key is adding a small egg white and doing a dry shake first, shaking it all without ice.
Why do that?
That emulsifies the egg white,
Right.
gives the finished drink this really silky, rich texture. It ends up tasting like a balanced kind of honeyed orange cream meets bourbon sour. Not actually like candy corn, thankfully.
Okay, that sounds much better. Less literal. And the candy corn tribute was funny, too.
Yeah, originally called chicken feed in the 1880s.
Yeah.
Who knew? But we still eat like 35 million pounds of it each Halloween.
Wow. Okay, quick sports update before we wrap.
Yeah, local high school footballs. The Mansfield Tigers had a big homecoming win, 28-10 over Legacy.
Nice.
Coach Greg George called it their most complete game of the season. Big play was a 75-yard interception return for a TD by Andrew McKinney.
Always exciting to see a pick six.
Definitely. And then looking ahead, Pro Soccer Connection North Texas SC, their season just ended in the playoffs.
Okay, but what's the local hook?
The big news is the team is scheduled to start playing its home games right here at the new Mansfield Stadium starting in 2026.
Oh, fantastic. Bringing pro sports right to the community. That's great news.
Yeah, exciting development.
Okay, so let's try and tie all this together. We covered a lot of ground.
We did. You've got the lowdown now on that complicated ballot, those urgent community deadlines, the importance of checking your furnace.
More than just checking it, thinking of it as the lungs of your house.
Right, and understanding how that connects to your finances and your family's health.
But maybe the biggest theme that emerged, especially from those career stories, Jenna Huniet and Stu Stewart.
Yeah, completely different stages of their careers, different feels even.
But both stories hammered home the same point. Personal relationships and that kind of old school word of mouth networking. Still incredibly powerful, maybe more powerful than just a resume or a digital profile.
Absolutely. In a world that's getting more automated, more voice tracked, more digital first, their success stories really stand out. They relied on genuine connection.
Which leads us to that final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on.
Given everything we just heard, especially from Jenna and Stu, how intentionally are you cultivating those deeper personal networks?
Yeah, beyond just LinkedIn connections, the kind of relationships that, as we thought, can actually unlock major opportunities, whether it's the next step in your current job or maybe
landing a gig as the director of fun in Hawaii. You never know.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with those human connections. Something to think about.
Definitely. So dig into those amendments, maybe look up that oldest building in Mansfield trivia, keep the conversation going.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.